Welcome back, data leaders, Python learners, and ChatGPT automators to Insight Builder channel. 5 database challenges solved with ChatGPT, whether it is creating star schema, modeling the data, normalizing the table, or loading the data into database and then querying the database. All these challenges solved by the prompts that speed up the data processing. We can ask ChatGPT to provide the data model, schema generation, and the DDL DML queries, but how will ChatGPT know about our data set? So we are going to give our complete data set to ChatGPT. But hold on a minute. Can we provide the complete data set to ChatGPT? In reality, no. There is a prompt limit. However, we can work with the part of the data set in such a way that it can understand what is in our data. After we do that, we can use additional prompts to work on asking ChatGPT that how to load the data into the database. Help me to normalize the table to second or third normal form, or create additional types of schema like star and snowflake, and then query those schema. So it will provide the actual commands that is used for these activities. It will not actually query your data set. Please note this point. It will not query your data set. It will help you to provide the commands that you can then execute on your database server to ease up your process. As I explained, it is speed up the data processing. It is not going to do the data processing for you. I am repeating, it is not going to do the data processing. It is only going to help you to speed up, help you to improve your productivity and start concentrating on important aspects of your job. So those managers and those leaders who are watching this video, ensure that you give sufficient time to your engineers and your developers for understanding how the things works if for a new problem, but they can speed up the problem implementation. So the problem solution, the way they come up with the problem ideas, they have to still do it manually. They can take support of ChatGPT. However, implementation also they can take support of ChatGPT. The intermediate step where the ideas are generated and where the implementation is done, there is an intermediate step where human intuition, human knowledge, human thought process are still required. So keep this in mind and then let us proceed further. This particular video is, and all my videos are geared towards practice, and the setup that I provide is available as open source. The Jupyter Notebook setup, the Python, the GitHub, everything is available open source. You don't need to resort to any kind of third-party installations. All you need to do is go to internet and get these tools and technologies onto your operating system in matter of minutes. Okay, for that all you need to do is go to Internet Explorer. In the Internet Explorer, if you go to my channel, you will find a lot of other playlists. In that, take a look at these two playlists: Mastering Python Ecosystem and Learn Data Engineering. In this, especially in Learn Data Engineering, I provide all the basics of setting up the Python, setting up GitHub, and then also setting up Jupyter Notebook. So if you go through these videos, you will understand how to come up to speed and to get a Jupyter Notebook server like this. Okay, that is the first step. So once you get a Jupyter server like this, then what we can do is we can go into the projects and you can get into the notebook where the code is already provided. The code that is required for this particular video that I will be showing is already written here, and you can execute it and practice it. So coming back to the presentation, you see the idea of practice. So this video is geared toward explaining to you, not just tell you that practice, but it also tells you how to set up yourself for the best practice and get best feedback. Okay, and so if you like my video, do leave a like and share it with others. This is very important. Currently, the artificial intelligence is creating lots of more data than human can even read. So what is the solution? Let us get the machines to read it and give whatever we want. But how to make the machines to read it? By programming it. and by learning to program. So this video is not only going to help you in actually creating the prompts and working with ChatGPT. I'll be showing to you how to do that without programming also, but the video will favor or will be directed towards practicing the code and working through code and ChatGPT API, working through code with ChatGPT API. That will be the main intention. Okay, and do subscribe to my channel. New videos, if it once it gets uploaded, will be notified to your YouTube dashboard. So with that, let me go to the Internet Explorer again. So I already introduced you to the Jupyter notebooks. Okay, I already showed you how the Jupyter server works. But before I start working on the code that is listed here, I want to also give a brief background that you might actually come from the internet from any direction. So just to give a brief background, OpenAI has created the ChatGPT language model, and it has hosted it on the internet, and you can access it by going to platform.openai.com by registering for their service. Okay, give your email ID and you will get registered. After that, sign into that account and go to your account place and click on View API Keys. Once you click on View API Keys, you will get the API key here, and then you can click on Settings. You will get the organization number. Copy these two and keep it. Why you will need this, I will tell in a couple of seconds. Okay, now once you have done this, then you can go to Playground. Okay, you go to Playground, and in the Playground you click on Chat. In Chat you will actually see GPT 3.5 Turbo. So this is the ChatGPT AI that we are going to work with. So to this ChatGPT AI, you can say at the system level, you can say you are a system, you are a experienced. Let me paste it. I have it already. Just give me a moment. I can paste this here, and if I submit it without actually telling anything, so I did not give any input. So what this model replied, as an AI language model, I don't have any experience, but I can provide you with a theoretical knowledge and guidance on database administration and programming. You saw this, right? I did not give any prompt here. So, but it still replied to me, telling that, okay, I don't have any experience. Okay, so this is very honest. So let us remove this, and in this message area, what I'm going to do is I already have the prompt with me. I'm going to paste it. Okay, I'm going to paste it like this. So I have given the data set, complete data set, and I am pasting it. At the end of it, I am asking, okay, refer to the data set and help me to create the database table, load the data, and make the table into third normal form. I am asking ChatGPT to do this for me. Okay, the data set equal to, I have given it here. Okay, first and foremost, I am reducing this to 0, and I am increasing this to 500. Yeah, 490 or 500. It cannot be more than that. So let us see what will happen if I increase it like this, and if I come and submit. It will say that maximum context length is 4096. Actually, it's 97. It's saying 97, but I have requested for 4421. So what it means is that I cannot get a reply, this much long reply. So I have to reduce it. So I will reduce it to 565. And now if I submit, it will execute, and it will say, okay, so it will start creating the database table. It is creating that, and now it is creating the load activity, and then it is creating the tables step by step, one after the other in the third normal form. And it is saying that this contains the primary key data set, and it is explaining everything, and it is giving all the theoretical feedback that is necessary. Okay, and it has done all this. However, we actually worked on the user interface that everybody can do. Okay, the challenge here is that you saw how fast it created all this data. You asked these 3 questions. You gave the data set, this you copied from somewhere, and you asked 3 questions, and it created this much content. You have to read it, you have to process it, and then you have to take decision, right? So all this will take time. So how to speed this up? How to store this data? So that is where programming comes into picture. That is the purpose that I introduce the concept of Jupyter Notebook and Python, so that it will be easier for you to interface with ChatGPT API, ChatGPT's API. This is actually the user interface. not with this. We are not going to work in this interface. We are going to work with API interface. For that, this particular notebook will be used. Okay. You must be wondering, okay, where to get this code? How to actually get all these folders? You are showing me all these folders. Where to get this? In order to get this folder, the data, you have to go to GitHub. If you go to github.com, in that I'll be sharing the link also. So the if you go to this particular link, inside builder Python DE learners data, this particular link will show you the location where the files, folders, etc. are there. So you can use this code, use this link, and you can get the entire data and the data sets along with that. So everything is stored in this place already. You have to just do a git clone. So how to use GitHub, how to use git clone, all these things are shared in these 3 videos. Okay, in these 3 videos, in this particular playlist, you can check every aspect of it. Now let us start the so you have already set up Python, you have set up GitHub, you have got all the repo, all the code and the data set like this, you have got everything, and you are able to open the Jupyter server and you are able to operate it like this. This is after this step, then you can actually click on code scripts, go to projects, go to database admin, and then click on database program with ChatGPT. So once you click on this particular page will open. Okay. After this, first thing you need to execute this cell. So in order to execute Jupyter cell, you have to click on run. So if you have to click on the cell, it will have the cursor here like this, then you click on run. So this cell will run actually. And then after this cell runs, this will install all these extra libraries in your operating system. Because since you are new, so you need to also install all these things. If you are not new, then you may not require these things, so you don't need to do that. Since I am already using this, I will not be doing that. So I will execute this first cell, which will install all my libraries and especially OpenAI library. So this is required for me to work with the ChatGPT API. And then you will paste your organization key and organization number and key that we got from this location. You remember I told you to go to view API keys, go to settings, you remember that? So you paste those data here, okay, and then you execute this by clicking on run or by pressing Control Enter. After that, you start this particular function. It will help to get the keys, the number of tokens inside the particular string. So this is possible by using the tick token library that is also installed here. Okay, so you have to execute this cell by clicking on run, and then you execute this cell for example. So this is an example cell where you see, and this cell is very important. So once I execute this cell, you can give the experience. What is the role? So the same role that we gave here, right? You remember that we gave the role here that you are an experienced database administrator. This same role we are actually giving it here also. Okay, we will use this, and then comes the aspect of data set. Okay, in the server, if you go, you will see okay, this file will not be there, so I am deleting this right now. So you will see that there is a file called archive.zip, which is only 6.5 MB. Okay, if I execute this cell, once I execute import shutil pandas and execute this cell, what will happen is this shutil function library will help me to unpack this zip file, and it will create this file. It will get this file. So if you go back now, you will see that just a moment ago I deleted this file, right? So this file is back. So it came from this zip file, and you see the size, it is 50 MB. In order to save the network bandwidth, I had used the zip file. Now next is I am going to read. So basically I am going to read this entire file, this entire 50 MB file into Python execution environment. Once I read it, it will create as list environment. So all these things I am actually speeding up because this is not the introduction of Python course, Python video. I am introducing the data modeling and the database related concepts here. So I would suggest that you look at the other playlist that I showed here, this playlist and this playlist, or you can actually take a look at this video. This is an accelerated learning of Python using again ChatGPT. So you can take a look at this video. This is an excellent introduction of lots of concepts of Python at a very limited time. Okay, I told you, right, you have to speed up our learning process. So yeah, this is one such videos. And once you understand these things, we are actually taking a look at the list. So we see the data set here, right? So this is the first 5 rows. You can go, and if you want, you can open this also by clicking it. It will take some time. And this is the first row, first line in the this is the first line. So in the file, this is the first line. So you see that here. So like this, each and every line has been taken as a list column here. And we can actually select the range also. So from 6 to 11, we can select it. The entire length of the data is around 450k lines. So if you go down here, there will be 450k lines. As you can see here, 450k lines. So it's a huge data set, considerably huge data set. And we should not do this. So I'm removing that. And then I am splitting the data set in such a way that only 55 lines are getting read. Okay, I'm just splitting it, and you see that I'm taking the row number 1. So this row is common. Okay, this is row 0. Okay, and I'm starting from row number 1. Okay, I'm taking from row number 1 to row number 55. So all these things I have storing it inside the variable data underscore t. And after that, I am creating the prompt. So you see this prompt here, right? So this prompt, you see data set equal to, and at the bottom you see this extra sentence. All these things I am not typing manually. Okay, I am asking Python to create it for me by using this particular function, this particular cell. Okay, whenever I execute this cell step by step, I will be able to get the prompt. So the variable name is prompt underscore made. So once I execute this, so I can press Control Enter. Okay, if I press Control Enter, this cell will execute, and then I can check the number of tokens. So if I execute this, so it will check. Okay, just a minute. Let me execute this. Yeah, I think that is 1 minute. Let me also execute that. And now if I come down here and if I execute this, so you saw that it is sequential. So if I don't execute any of the cell in cell that is ahead of this cell, then it will not work. And you see the reply, it is 3493 tokens. And the prompt is the same way that I initially showed, right? So it is like that. The actual data set is ending here, okay? But the prompt actually is having additional information, additional sentences. So if you want to convert this this particular paragraph or prompt into this tabular format, then you can use this particular function. Okay, and if you send the prompt that you create into this, it will create the tabular form like this. This is how the data looks. This actually looks like this in tabular format. Pandas is the library that can create such tabular formats. Okay, so this is just for the reference. This function is the workhorse of our program. So this function does 2 things. First and foremost, it actually takes the organization name, key, the role that we created, the experienced database administrator, and the prompt that we created here, this prompt, that it takes that also, and then it takes a file name. So this file name actually stores the reply that comes from this reply. So you see this, we got a reply here, right? That reply also, let me actually reduce this and let me do a small submit. So it will only give me 128 tokens. Okay, so this reply, whatever the reply is coming here also, this reply, you see this actually stopped. If I give only 128 tokens, it stopped here itself. But previously when I gave 500 tokens, it went till the end, right? So this is how you control it. By using this file, all the replies get automatically stored inside the database tutor, the file name. So if I click this, you will see all the reply, including the prompt. So this is the prompt I made, and then the completion. So I get the entire completion stored here. That is the purpose of, as I was explaining, that you are not going to use manual work to copy paste whatever this user interface is giving. Okay, that is old school. Okay, and that way of working is very, very difficult in the future. The future is going to be this. It is going to be through programming. You have to work, and that is the only way to get the things done at a very fast rate. Okay, so this function will do that for you. All you need to do is ensure that you give the correct file name. After that, only once you execute this, in your case, you have to execute this next couple of cells, then only the database tutor file will get created. So if you, in my case, I have given you the example. So this is an example that I am showing it to you in my notebook, and I have also shared it with you for reference. It will be there in the repo also. Okay, in the repo, it is there. So you see that, right? This file is there. If you click on this, you can actually see the reply here also. You can see the reply here. But this is only for reference. Don't use this when you are practicing. Okay? You can practice it on your own file. So you change this file to some other file. Okay? Say for an example, execution file or practice file or something like that. And after that, this is where we are first giving the command to ChatGPT API. Okay? I am actually telling to ChatGPT API that take my OpenAI org, that is the key that is at the top, that where it is. This the key that you updated key in the organization. We are giving it here. We are giving it here, and we are giving the role that we already assigned. Then we are prompt made. This is the prompt that we made here. Where it is? Yeah, here. And once we give that, you will get this reply. And when the reply is given here, it will also be returned to this file. So both the things will happen simultaneously. Okay, that is how this function has been written. Okay, and you will be understanding how these functions work if you are, if you understand the basics of Python. Come up to speed with Python as soon as possible. Okay, it initially looks a little daunting, but believe me, once you actually cross that barrier of fear that it is difficult to learn, it is extremely easy. Programming and coding is can be done very easily. You can do coding very easily if you understand what is the problem you are facing and how to solve it. Okay, that is the first barrier. If you understand to problem solve with code, then you are going to rock, because all these things, it started like this. So when I start this particular part of this code, right, it is given by OpenAI itself. So if I go to OpenAI, if I go to documentation, and if I go to this, where it is, API reference, and if I think it is completion, I can go to chat, click on chat. If I go to chat, you will see that all this code is already there. I don't need to do anything. I have to just copy it. Okay, I have to copy it and I can come and paste it here. However, what I did additional activity, because I want to store the file, store the data also. Here when it replies, here it just prints. Okay, but I don't want that. I want additional one additional step where the file the data is also printed. So this is something that I added. So like this, you will also get new ideas. Okay, and I created this function by myself and I updated this. I want such a thing from your side also. So all these things will happen when you start practicing. Practice. The more you practice with problems solving, the more better you will get. Okay, now you can actually use Python to also give you lots of tutorials and training. That is, you can actually get that even in the same repo, right? In the same repo, you can see that, where is that? Yeah, program with ChatGPT. If you click this, there is a notebook on that. You can go through this also. So if you go through this, the same kind of a setup is there. The same notebook setup that I am using here, the same thing is there also. But for Python learning. Here it is for database learning, but here it is for Python learning. How simple it is, huh? So to make someone learn, all you need to do is give the program and they start learning. This is again a prompt that I'm using. Okay, I'm just introducing. Okay, so it is available, so you can check it. Now coming back to our problem at hand. So first and foremost, ChatGPT has replied. Okay, you see the reply. So the reply looks acceptable. There could be some error. The name could be wrong. The table column that it is using could be wrong. Okay, all these things you can correct it. Okay, these things you should be able to correct if you know how database works and you have already got some experience in SQL and you have got some experience in database management. Okay, so you can speed up your productivity. But if you are totally new to database management and productivity, database management and engineering, then it will be tough. So I really suggest that you take some basic course. I will also be creating a separate video and I will be tagging it along with this video. Take a look at that, or else the option is that you ask ChatGPT. Okay, so for an example, here there is a reply. So this is the first table it is getting created. It is very clear, it is simple. And then it is telling, okay, load the CSV file, and it is giving this particular command. But you don't know where to use this command. You are totally new to database. So then you come and ask here, okay, where to use this command? Show me the steps. So you ask to ChatGPT and you wait for the reply. Okay, and you will see that this reply are already taken it out. Okay, I will show the reply here for your reference. So what had happened is it actually explains. So it actually explains that where to use the command above. So show me the steps. So this is the actual prompt that I sent, and the reply is that it is telling that open the terminal, create the table, and then after you create the table, then use PSQL command, and you have to come out of the PSQL command. It is saying that go into PSQL command, create the table, then it's telling you to come out of the PSQL command by using /q, and then it is actually asking you to go into the directory where the CSV file is, and then use the command call copy. Okay, all these things it is asking, it is actually correct. So all the commands that it is telling is correct. No doubt about that. So these things it explains in detail. Okay, that is one of the things that I really liked about ChatGPT, and that is the reason why I am even sharing it here. And also you see the benefit of it. I had run this command sometime back. Okay, I had run this command when I was exploring all this stuff. Okay, I want to see what happens, and I stored it here. So now I am able to show it to you. And the same way you can also keep a track of all the commands that you are working on. And then again, if I want to ask, okay, what is normal form in database engineering? It actually explains. So what is normal form in database engineering? So this is the explanation that it has given, and that explanation is also stored here. So the same explanation that you see here is stored. The same explanation is stored here also. Okay, we see that, okay, you are understanding the purpose, how it is working. So you send the request to ChatGPT API, and it replies, you read it, you execute it and check it in your database, and you start working. But where is the database? So I am actually working, I am asking you to work on the database, but what if you don't have a database in your hand? Okay, there are two ways to mitigate this. Okay, one way is to get a hand on the database. That you can actually do it through couple of ways. Okay, you can either use EC2 server, or actually you can check one of the videos where I explain. Welcome back. Where I explain the complete starting process of getting a Docker instance. So if you go to this video, if you go to this video, data modeling with DBT, this particular video, in first 30 minutes, it explains how to get a Docker instance of Postgres database. So take a look at this. You will actually like it, and you can get the Postgres database in your local environment, and then you can start administering. Okay, but you don't want to do all this headache. You want to just ask ChatGPT. You are asking to ChatGPT, okay, I want to administer the Postgres database inside AWS EC2 instance. You are a cloud enthusiast and you want to do it in cloud. Okay, you can ask ChatGPT and it will reply. It will start replying. So I checked it out. There are certain instances where it is wrong. Okay, these two I feel that it is not accurate. Okay, so I am not actually asking you to follow these steps from whatever ChatGPT is telling. So if you are facing any error, always come back and ask. So I am asking, okay, I want to correct myself. I have to install and connect to database in Ubuntu Linux instance. So here I did not tell Then in the next prompt, I'm telling, okay, I'm correcting myself. I'm going to install it on Ubuntu Linux. And you see that it is telling for Linux. So here it is giving the Linux Ubuntu based command updates. Okay, how to do it. And here also it is till here it is okay, but after this the create user is little and also create DB is also a little dicey. I don't think these are all right. Okay, if you are facing any error in the reality, come and tell to ChatGPT that this is actually creating an error, how to resolve it. Then it will give a new reply. And always come back to the Jupyter notebook. Do not go to this playground. Okay, if you go to this playground, your train of discussion that is happening in ChatGPT will not get stored in this file. Okay, keep this in mind. And then that is one way. Okay, administering the database. Now you will try that administration, but you want to ask ChatGPT that create the star schema based on the table. So it already created host, locations, and connections. These are the tables it created. Just a minute, I will show it to you. Yeah. You see, these are the tables: host, locations, and connection. These are the tables it created. And if it doesn't create, so for an example, when you are prompting it, and when you are using this particular command, and when you see the reply, if there is no tables, if there is only data till connections, actually ask ChatGPT again to create the tables based on the schema. Okay, it will create the table. So I'm confident about that. It can actually read that and do the table. Then you can actually reference that table here. So I'm referencing host, locations, and connections, and I'm asking it to create a star schema. And you see that it first explains what is star schema. So it explains what is fact table, it explains what is dimension table, and then it goes on creating the schema it goes on creating the query for creating the table. And it actually uses the query also. And then finally we see I am asking ChatGPT to give me 3 SQL data management query. So data manipulation query, not management. You see that I am asking it to use this data tables that it created, these tables, and it is actually using it. So these things are, it is almost, looks that it will work. Okay, but there will be challenges when you are going to execute this from the variable name types, the column name types. There could be some errors, so you have to still read it and execute it manually. ChatGPT is only giving you the commands. It is not executing. Okay, it is not executing on the data set. Okay, we are not asking it to execute, but if you ask to execute, right, actually it will execute, but it will not be of any use. See, at the end of the day, our intention is not to analyze the database, analyze the data. That is a separate activity that I have covered in the this particular video. So how to design intelligent prompts and responses using data. So this video, if you see, it actually analyzes the data. But here my intention is to work with the database only. Okay, and so you see that it actually creates the query here. And yeah, you can start using this query and start improving your data processing speed. As that is the end of this particular tutorial. And you can also refer to this file also. It will be there for your reference. So we have come to the end of this particular discussion. If you come to the PDF, to the presentation again, the major point of introducing you to the Python ecosystem, the ChatGPT API, and the practicing framework with Jupyter Notebook is that you can come up to speed with Python and the programming language environment very fast. Okay, it is important not only for today, it is important for the future also. So that is how the future is going, and we can take it in our hand. It is as simple as the learning the skills. We have learned to use pencil, we have learned to use computers. To learn programming, if you are not aware of programming, is not a very difficult challenge. You can handle that challenge if right persons are teaching with right mentality. Okay, and I myself, I believe that I am passionate about sharing my knowledge and teaching whatever I know. And do subscribe to my channel. You will get some more information and new videos when I upload. you will get the notification. And with that, guys, stay tuned for the next video. I'll be making a next video on doing automation using pandas and ChatGPT. So that is, pandas is another one Python library. That also will be very interesting. That will speed up the data analysis process. Here it speeds up the data processing and data loading. The next video will work on data analysis process speed up. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video, guys. Until then, yeah, practice, and see you guys. Have a nice time.